Hello, Queens. How are you doing today? Let's dive straight in, shall we? In fact, no, actually, before we dive in, if you haven't already rated my podcast 5 star review, I would be beyond grateful if you could do that. It literally takes, what, 10 seconds stars and maybe a minute to write a review. Either one, both would be exceptionally incredible. So thank you in advance. All right, now let's get into the episode. This was from a question, how to face loved ones after weight gain. And the question was, how can I deal with the embarrassment of facing loved ones, colleagues, etc., after a big weight gain from binging? Well, firstly, I would like to suggest that this queen gets support with binge eating because it can be very difficult to overcome on your own. And unfortunately, I am making a judgment here, but I have evidence to back this judgment up. Most professionals don't even know how to support someone to fully live in freedom and to support them through binge eating properly. Because, yes, again, this is my opinion, but the amount of clients I've supported to full freedom and self-love through binge eating is so many when they've had coaching, they've had therapy from eating disorder therapists and from coaching people who are, a professional in binge eating and emotional eating, because calling a friend or going for a freaking walk instead of binging or eating, it doesn't work, does it? So just saying, get support. It doesn't have to be from me, of course. I would love it to be from me because I know how to support you with this, but get a support from someone who really gets it, and read the testimonials and things like that. Okay. And I want to say that I get it. So the question or the title, how to face loved ones after weight gain, I get it. I I used to be a lot skinnier than I am right now. And granted, I'm still in a normal size body, but this facing loved ones after weight gain can be so emotionally painful, especially if you've been praised for being the skinny one or the fit and healthy one. And as I was saying, I understand exactly because I was known as the super fit and lean one, without which automatically equated to them, those people that were saying, I'm the fit one, I'm the lean one, I'm the super healthy one. They assumed that just because I was fit and lean, they assumed that I was healthy. But this was far from the truth, because even though I exercised a lot and it was way too much and I had a lean physique, I was constantly starving myself and binging and purging. I was eating only low-calorie diet foods and then bucket loads of sugary foods such as chocolate, Nutella, and ice cream. That was not healthy, mentally nor physically, starving myself, only eating diet food and then binging on sugar, right? So even though I was labeled the super fit one and the healthy one, that wasn't true, but it became my identity. It was what I was known for, and I was praised for it as well. When I embarked on my recovery journey, I gained weight, about 40 pounds. I lost my rock hard abs, I lost my defined arms, and in my opinion, I became fat. That was my opinion. I had also moved abroad to live with my now husband, Wouter. So none of my family or friends had actually seen my weight gain. So as you can imagine, facing them after gaining weight felt like one of the scariest things in the world. I was so afraid of what they would think of me and my body. And even though I knew none of them would say anything to me out loud or unkind, I knew they would be thinking it, especially my family, because after all, my entire life, all I'd ever witnessed was due to their body size. So I knew that they would judge me. So how did I loved ones after gaining weight in recovery? Here's what I did to support myself. And as I'm sharing what I did, of course, I'm inviting you to do the same for you. so you can support yourself through this weight gain and seeing people you've not seen since the weight gain. The first thing is self-compassion. No surprise there if you know me. I practice, and you'll notice I say the word practice a lot because it's not something I could just do. I had to freaking practice it. I didn't know how to just be compassionate to myself. I had to practice being compassionate. So I practice pouring a whole lot of compassion into myself. This wasn't easy, as my normal narrative in my head was based in self-flagellation. My automatic thoughts would my automatic thoughts used to be, you've let yourself go, look at how fat you are. Everyone is going to cringe when they see you. How could you let yourself get like this? It's disgusting. And so when those thoughts came to me, I chose to feel any emotions that were present and then reframe my thoughts to ones that served me. And most importantly, ones that I believed a 6 or more out of 10 on the believability scale. So the reframes of my thoughts in self-compassion looks like the following. You've not let yourself go. You've let yourself be free. You've freed yourself from the prison of the eating disorder, and for that you should be very proud of yourself, even though it's hard. What anyone else thinks about me is none of my business. They might think negative things about my body, but I'll never know. And even if I did know, I can't change my body unless I live with an eating disorder. And I don't want that. That was misery. Even though I don't like the way my body looks, I can focus on what I like about myself instead. I am brave and I'm kind, loving, and funny. I've chosen to stop valuing looks and body sizes and value how I can make the world a better place through who I am. The next step, and again, these aren't in particular order, these are just everything that I did to support myself through this. Accepting the facts and feelings and feel your emotions. I encourage myself to face the cold, hard truth. I had gained weight, and my body, in my opinion, looked completely different in my eyes. Trying to find evidence via constantly body checking to try and convince myself that it wasn't that bad, it wasn't working. In fact, it was making it worse. So instead, I would say to myself out loud in front of the mirror, I have gained weight, full stop. And then I would be with whatever feelings came up from acknowledging that. Most of the time, especially at the beginning of this work, the feelings that came up were downright panic and shame. Those came up very frequently and very strongly at the beginning. I had learned how to support myself through these feelings, as I never truly allowed myself to feel any of my emotions before. So I had to learn how to feel my feelings, right? I know it's not very tangible. I'm going to share with you how I did that. I used to be overwhelmed by my emotions and would suppress them and disconnect from them. As a child, I hadn't been shown how to be with emotions. I was made wrong for having emotions. I was locked outside as a little girl whenever I would cry. I was told off and punished for being angry. And I was told that I learned that having emotions and expressing them was bad and wrong. I was bad and wrong at my core if I did that. So I learned how to disassociate and suppress. The eating disorder made this easier for me to do. So being able to acknowledge and then feel my emotions was alien to me, but I practiced, there's the word again, I practiced nonetheless. Why? Because I wanted food freedom and self-love more than anything else in the world. So I would sit with the emotions and I would feel them deeply. I would breathe, I would cry, and I would like sway, and I would fall on the floor, and I'd be quite honestly broken. I would get angry, I would scream into pillows, I would ugly cry with literally like snot running down my face, and I would be hysterical in the noises that I was making, and I would allow it all. And then I'd wrap my arms around myself like this, and I would just like rock myself either sideways or forwards and backwards as I sat on the floor. And I would say to myself out loud, "It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. It's okay." Honestly, if anyone saw me, they would have probably checked me into an asylum, like a mental asylum, because I don't know what that all would have looked like. And I made sure I was in a safe space in my bedroom, shut. And I did that work, and it was fucking hard. But you know what? It's very healing. It was heartbreaking thinking back to it now. But over and over again, I allowed myself to feel until the deep-rooted shame actually alchemized into mild frustration. And then I would feel that too. And each time after I would feel and express my emotions, I would use my mindset to support me. So I would say things like, "I've gained weight, and that's okay. I am working on believing that I can live a happy life. My body is my vessel that enables me to experience life. It is not freaking life. Bodies change, and that's okay too. I've traded freedom for a lean body, and freedom is worth it. Focus on what I've gained as well as weight." And then, this is very important, I would act as if I believed all of those things were already true for me. The key is action. Okay. The next thing that I did, I shared openly about my fears. I shared with my family and friends before I flew back to see them that I had gained weight and I was feeling really anxious about them seeing me. I also communicated my needs and asked them not to comment on my weight or body, because even if they were trying to be nice, it would be triggering to me. My sister did say one thing that she didn't think would be triggering, and it kind of was and it kind of wasn't. It it was better than what I thought they would have said, like, "Oh, you've not gained that much weight." But she actually looked at me and she said, "The weight suits you. You look really good." So although she didn't fully get no comments on my body, she acknowledged the truth without trying to bullshit me, because I knew the truth. I had gained weight. And so she kind of met me with honesty. And then she said, "It looks good on you. It really suits you." So I didn't believe her at the time, but that was just something I wanted to share. What I did do, and this is important to share, is I avoided making a joke out of the weight gain, as I tended to use humor to cover up anxiety and fear. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it wouldn't be honoring my true feelings, and it would be avoiding being instead. And being vulnerable is a big part of healing, especially if it's meant. When I was with my family and friends and I was having a moment, like a body image moment or a moment of being not okay, and they noticed, I would say, "I'm just having a painful emotion come up about my body. I'm just feeling it and I'm okay." As simple as that. When we acknowledge and make room for our emotions and feel them, that's healing. We don't need to make them go away or ask the other person to distract us or try and persuade us that what we're thinking or feeling isn't true. That doesn't help. We just need to feel it and let it go. Letting go is key, because we keep ourselves stuck. We keep ourselves hanging on to the emotions sometimes if we're triggered, and the emotion wants to be felt and let go. But if something triggers you, such as your legs squishing together as you sit down, don't keep looking at your legs and don't keep judging them and watching them squish. Feel the emotions that come up and then focus on something else. You are where your attention is. You are where your attention is. You get to decide what experience you have in each moment by where you choose to put your attention. If you're out with your mum at a cafe, Focus on her. Focus on her eyes. Focus on how she makes you feel. Focus on the food. Focus on the atmosphere. Focus on the environment. Wherever you look is where your focus is. Generally, you can be staring at something and not be fully seeing it. But if you're looking at your squishy legs or being very self-aware of them, you're going to be in that emotion of about whatever comes up when you look at your squishy legs. Look at a tree, look at something else. You get my gist. You are where your attention is. Whatever you find. So make sure you look for something that you actually want to experience. If people make comments about your weight, then be prepared. Decide in advance how you want to respond. You can choose to politely change the subject or set clear boundaries about discussing your weight. Part of healing is starting to advocate for yourself and your needs, and you can do this. The next one is I focused on feeling good in my body. Instead of focusing on everything I hated about my body, I focused on what felt good in my body. So, for example, I started noticing that it didn't feel good for my body internally to skip meals and then eat 1 kilogram of chocolate instead. So, I started to nourish my body with delicious meals and ate whatever chocolate I wanted in between. It felt good to drink fresh water throughout the day, read a book before bed instead of going straight from the TV to bed, and also to get enough sleep. I started seeing my body as a very special person who needed taking care of in all the ways. When I shifted my attention to self-care with no restrictions, instead of my weight, I started to feel better in my body. I didn't necessarily feel better about how my body looked straight away because I wasn't obsessing over that. But because wait, that didn't make sense. I've skipped my line. Right, let me go again. I started to shift my attention to self-care instead of weight. And then I started to feel better in my body. I didn't necessarily feel better about how my body looked, but because I wasn't obsessing about how my body looked, it wasn't prominent. It's easier to feel good about yourself in general when you feel good within yourself, regardless of what your outside looks like. Another thing, wearing clothes that felt good. This was a big one for me, and in general, and when facing loved ones after weight gain, I got rid of clothes that didn't either fit me or didn't feel nice. That was a whole thing, as you can imagine, and it brought up a lot of emotions, but I walked through them and I let them go. I mourned the loss of those clothes that looked amazing on my lean body. I wrote letters, I cried, I had tantrums, I just felt and then let go because those clothes no longer fit me. And if I could just about get them on, they didn't look good or didn't feel good at all. So I had to move through that. We have to let go of something in order for us to then grow. That rhymes. We have to let go in order to grow. Oh my God, I love that. That's a mantra for you. We have to let go in order to grow. We do, right? We can't grow or evolve if we're holding on to something that is dragging us back down. Like imagine a vision. You're trying to move forward and there's this big chain, ball and chain called old clothes that used to fit me when I was thinner, dragging you back down. So not only physically do you have to let them go, emotionally you have to let them go too. Then I treated myself to new clothes that fit me. They don't have to be expensive. They can be charity shop, they can be Primark. I was in the position where I was able to treat myself to some really high quality clothes. So I treated myself to clothes that fit me well and the clothes that I liked. Granted, I didn't like the way my body looked in the clothes to begin with, because I would always be like, oh, well, if I was thinner, this would look even amazing on me. And now it doesn't. But what was important was that I liked the clothes, they felt good to me, and they fit me well. That's really important. But I started experimenting with fashion and jewelry and colors. I hired a stylist, and they're not actually as expensive as you think. I was in a group that was, I think, like £20 a month or something. And then I had a one-to-one with her, and then I knew everything about how to dress myself with my style, my body shape, the colors that suit me, all of that stuff, because I didn't know what I was doing, and that supported me a lot. Seeing myself make an effort for myself and my body helped how I felt about my body. My confidence grew in my clothes. I chose never to wear jeans again. And to this day, I think I own one pair of jeans and I never wear them because since my weight gain, they just didn't do it for me anymore. They just never felt right or looked right. So I just let them go. And I leaned into dresses and skirts and high-waisted trousers instead. I made an effort with my makeup and with my hair. It felt good and it contributed to me feeling good about myself. There's a difference, of course, between the above, what I've just shared, and not being able to leave the house without wearing nice clothes or makeup. I still push myself to do those things, leave the house with shit clothes and shit hair and no makeup, to practice showing up in the world as the true, authentic, and raw me. But it does help to take care of yourself and show up for yourself and brush your hair and wear nice clothes. It really does help. This next one is a big one. I practice living in the real life body I had. Whilst I was spending time with loved ones and day to day, I started going after the life I wanted in the real body I had, not waiting until I'd lost weight or felt comfortable in my body. I started to instead of putting my life on hold. And this looked like, for me, here come the action steps that I could think of head, what I did when I made that decision. It looked like going to my favorite gym in England when I was visiting family and friends for the first time since I'd gained all this weight, even though I was so afraid because last time I was there, I was fitness modeling and called Miss Mini Machine. That was the biggest one for me. So I went there. I didn't have a conversation with anyone before I went about being afraid of what they thought of me because I didn't know anyone close enough. So I just went in, held my head up high, and people were generally happy to see me. Some people asked like how my training was going, how am I? And I shared with them, I'm healing from an eating disorder that I've had for however many years, and it feels really good. It's really hard sometimes, but it's feeling good. And yes, I've lost my abs and my lean body, but it's really worth it. And I think I inspired them. So my fear of like everyone talking about me behind my back, and some of them might have, who knows, I didn't care because I was just being true to who I was. So that was a big one for me. It looked like going out with friends and dressing up, going on holiday and wearing a bikini, regardless of what I thought my body looked like. It looked like having sex without it needing to be pitch black or without having to have sex before I'd eaten anything because my tummy needed to be as flat as possible. It looked like wearing shorter dresses when it was hot, even though I didn't like all the cellulite on my legs. It looked like wearing shorts at the gym. It looked like wearing a crop top, even though I no longer had abs. Walking from the bathroom to my bedroom naked, even though I was scared what my partner would think of my body, because usually I'd hide behind a towel. Speaking up for myself and communicating my needs, etc. They were just off the top of my head. Did all those things when I was scared. I did all of those things when I was having feelings about it. I did all of those things when I didn't like the way my body looked. And I did it. And it got easier. And then I built up evidence that, wait, I can live my life in the body I have now after the weight gain and actually be okay. So that was a big one. Life is not waiting for you. It's happening now in the body you have right now. So why not allow yourself to actually fully live? Because if not now, when? Don't regret not living now. Don't go into the future and look back at this time, this moment in time, and wish that you'd done something different. Do it now. I'm just going to take a sip of water and then go into another biggie. All right, reframing and choosing new stories in the moment. If you haven't listened properly to everything I've said so far, listen up now, okay? Do not underestimate the power of your mind. Look, I'm even getting close to the camera if you can see the YouTube video. Shit's getting serious now. You get to rewire your brain so that it supports you, not hinders you. You do this by using your mind. Your brain and your mind are two different things. Whenever you become aware that you're feeling anxious, uncomfortable, or fearful, see this as a helpful warning sign that you need to change your thoughts. By changing your thoughts, you can change your perception of reality. I call this creating a new story that serves you. Because here's the thing, here's a big ass truth bomb here. Every single thing we tell ourselves is just a story. Whenever we believe that story or not is due to our previous experiences our brain has accumulated over time. If that story isn't serving us, we get to create a new story that does and act as if it is true. Yep, even with the fear. The more evidence we'll have by experiencing these new experiences that support the new story, the easier it is to start to believe these news stories as true for you. Are you with me still? Let me give you a tangible example. My old story used to be, now that I've gained weight, I'm unattractive and disgusting. I won't be able to be happy in this bigger body. It's impossible. Why can't I just be thin and eat what I want? This fucking sucks. I hate my body so much. Why can't it just look like I want to look? Why can't it just look like how I want it to look? I can't go out looking like this either. If anyone sees me eating anything other than a salad, they'll think that they shouldn't be eating it and that I should lose weight. If people see me at the gym, they'll think I've let myself go. They'll be shocked at the weight I've gained and they'll talk about me behind my back. On and on, the stories used to go. I'm sure you can relate. I would also act as if that story were true. So no wonder I felt shit and got more evidence of that story being true and felt even shitter, right? This was my new story that has now become my absolute truth. I've gained weight, but I've also gained so much more. I've gained freedom from restriction, being able to eat with friends and family and enjoy whatever it is I fancied eating. I've gained freedom from obsessing over everything I eat or have eaten. Even though I don't like the way my body looks, that's actually okay. If I make it not okay, then I'll only suffer as I'll be fighting reality. Why would I choose to suffer? And I can't control my body unless I live with an eating disorder for the rest of my life. And fuck that shit. Everything will be okay if I'm okay with everything. I choose to let go of the attachment to a certain body size. I choose to live my life regardless of whether I like the way my body looks or not. People might judge me because I've gained weight, and that's okay too, because this is about them and not about me. And even if they do say something, the worst thing that will happen is I will feel a feeling. I can handle that. It will give me chance to focus on self-compassion, etc. Can you feel the difference between those two stories? If you acted as if you believed this story instead of the original one, how do you think your life and your perception of life would change? You have the power to change your thoughts and your life. I worked on overcoming my fear of weight gain. Alongside everything I've just shared with you here, I worked on the deeper rooted fears of weight gain and what that meant to me. This is crucial too, as the only way to fully heal from an eating disorder and to live in food freedom and self-love is to take a deep holistic approach to recovery. That's why I created my Real Recovery Roadmap, which does exactly this. And if you want to know more about that, I'll pop the link below. Check out my free masterclass that goes into depth on each pillar of my Real Recovery Roadmap and also how to start implementing that for yourself. And I had to put on here, of course, the deep-rooted fear of weight gain, even though everything what I've shared will really help. Because if you have a deep-rooted fear of, let's say, rejection from your mother, if you're not thin, we need to work on that shit as well. So it's deep-rooted stuff that needs to be looked at too. So in summary, as this episode just comes to an end, number one is to seek professional support. Overcoming binge eating and weight gain is challenging alone. So seeking specialized support is essential. Number two, practice self-compassion. Replace negative self-talk with supportive thoughts, such as acknowledging the freedom from the eating disorder and then focusing on positive personal qualities beyond physical appearance. And that will involve the deeper work of separating your value and happiness and your worthiness from your body size. Number three, accept and feel emotions. Acknowledge the weight gain without denial. Allow yourself to feel and process emotions without suppression, embracing vulnerability and authenticity. Number four, communicate with loved ones. Share your feelings about the weight gain with family and friends. Set boundaries by asking them to not comment on your body or weight. I actually wrote a few letters to some of my friends that I found hard to speak to in person or over the phone, or a voice message on WhatsApp. You can give yourself space between you sharing in real time. So letters can be really helpful to get everything out how you feel. Number five, focus on self-care. Practice nourishing your body, maintaining hydration, getting enough sleep. We've heard this all before, but it's crucial. And wearing clothes that make you feel confident and comfortable. And stop restricting. Focus on adding self-care and nourishment in. Number six, reframe negative thoughts. Replace detrimental thoughts with empowering ones. Embrace the current body you have and live fully without waiting until you've lost weight. Number seven, live in your present body. Engage in activities and experiences regardless of body size, from going to the gym to wearing clothes that you enjoy. Number eight, redefine your story. Change the narrative you tell yourself about weight gain. Focus on the freedom and the benefits gained rather than just the physical changes. And number nine, address deeper fears. Focus on underlying fears related to weight gain through a holistic approach to recovery. And if you would like support on your journey to self-acceptance, food freedom, self-love, I am here for you. I have group coaching. I have one-to-one coaching. Group coaching is €47 and one-to-one coaching starts from £2,000 and you become my person to serve. So reach out to me if you want more info. All right, my love, sending you all the love and I'll catch you in the next one. Mwah.